So there we have it, the ramp finished. Secure. That was secured with a couple of pieces of tubing. Could be anything really, square or an I-beam shape, doesn't matter really. There's two located inside, roughly about there in the centre. I used the depth gauge just to get the measurement. So that's nice and secure now. And that new piece there was just literally a bit of plastic card. I marked off where the opening began and ended, found the centre line, and then created a rough shape looking at photographs, and then mirrored it on the other side. Cut it out and stuck it on. I've used a couple of pieces of square extruded plastic just for this to seat against, give it a bit more of a secure fitting. So let's talk about the floor. So you can see I've added my tabs. I measured them individually, widthwise, because some of them did vary. I've used 1.5mm plastic card. It's all I had to hand. I would have liked something a bit thicker. And you can see where I've covered as much area as I can, leaving a reasonable amount of space in between the areas where the floor will seat. I was going to glue the tabs on the smaller piece, but I'm just worried about causing too much stress on certain plastic parts. While I was messing with the fuselage halves, I noticed some seam marks. Now I did notice them before, but it's only afterwards I noticed there was one here as well, running all the way along here to the end of the part. The other one runs along from here down and across all the way there. That's easy to fix. There's one that runs along here, that's easy to fix as well. What I mean by that is sand without causing too much damage. This one here is a bit of a, got to be careful of, running along here. I did end up taking a bit of detail off, having to rescribe some of the panels. You can see where these aerial pylons would attach, these fixing points here. We've got them on the kit down here as well. So I've taken them off and then filled the hole in. I need to check that one there. But yeah, the seams have a tiny amount of flash on and very hard to see. I didn't notice them initially. I don't know why I caught sight of them all of a sudden, but they are subtle. But whereas the fuselage halves ain't too bad, the fairings or sponsons, or fuels carried, are a different matter altogether. We've got a horrendous one on the top here, and it's a horrendous for the reason you've got your join there and then a continuation there, and you've got this dip. It really is too shallow to add filler, but what I had to be careful of is making sure that I didn't create a flat spot, which inevitably I had to get rid of it, and then polish off the other sides there. So it took quite a bit of effort. You've got one running from this ventral strake all the way along here. That's not too bad. So I need some more fine grit along here, but all this top surface will have to change anyway. This isn't what you see on the RAF version. So I'm going to have to create some fillets that will run along the top there. So these three filler caps will have to be recreated somewhere along here, which should be nice. Goes to both sides. So there's been quite a bit of work on the top of these here. Something to look forward to. But before I get to that, I must, as I keep saying, get on and get some painting done. Right, where do I start? I started laying some paint down last night, at last. Lots of big areas to cover. So just basic coats. I've still got the anti-skid areas to paint. Most of this area will be black, and there's a couple of strips on the floor pan there. I laid quite a bit of colour down last night, and then it was getting late, so I decided to just seal it all, even though I hadn't completely finished. This will just get an acrylic wash and wiped off, not spending too much time on that. Same with the floor here, an acrylic wash, maybe a bit of highlighting, and then that'll be it for the floor plan. I'll probably spend a bit more time on the ramp since it's going to be more visible. The electronics bay and the rear of the cockpit. This quilting, you've got the 3 parts here that fit in that tunnel there. I found this stuff. It's baking paper. I don't know whether that's picking up the embossed areas there. It looked pretty good. I ended up airbrushing in the end. Basic colour, and then painting from underneath a black colour just to pick out the embossed areas. I don't know whether you can see that. You can see I've already cut a piece out. And I'm looking from here, I'm sold on the idea. I think it looks pretty good. Compared to this, even if you had a wash, it's just lifeless. This just gives it a bit more, to me anyway, a bit more life. So I'm going to go with that idea, and I'm going to cover, like I said, the internal, this area here. I may do this area here, I don't know yet. But I'm not, I don't think, going to do the internal. These bits here, I'm going to leave that, just give it a wash, an acrylic wash. But you can see I've added the basic paint there. Same on the other side. Sealed it all in, even though I've still got areas around here to paint black and a bit of aluminium. Once that's dried and done, I will give that a wash and maybe pick out a few highlights. And hopefully very soon I can start putting these fuselage halves together. Once I get the seats in, of course. I've still got to give some light to these seats. They're a bit clinical. I need to make them look a bit more lived in. Masking's applied. I am limited to what's inscribed on the plastic part, so I've tried to keep it looking as familiar or as similar as possible. Same with the ramp door, guided by what panel lines are actually on the parts. So I'll get on and add the paint. Well, I won't bore you with the rest, but you get the gist. So a few touch-ups, and then seal it all in with a coat varnish, and then add in some washes and some highlights. I'm going to start adding a wash, a water-based wash, on areas like the ceiling, the floor, and the sides here, but not this area here or the ramp. Because these areas are going to be more noticeable, I need to spend a bit more time, so I'll be using oils and enamel washes for these areas. These areas here, you aren't going to see a lot, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time. Just a simple wash, wipe it off, and we're done. I make my own panel wash using gouache and watercolours. Make any colour wash you want, really. I've got a pre-mixed one here. There's some detergent added. You don't need to add a lot, just enough so it doesn't bead on the surface. Let all that dry and then wipe it off. It will darken the paint that I've got applied on the surface, but that won't matter. As I said, and I keep saying, it's a tunnel. You ain't gonna see much. That's all dry now, so with a damp bit of cloth, I'm going to take the excess off. It's a bit like grouting. Take the excess off, let it dry, and then go over it again. Now it's dry, just going to go over it again. Just a bit of breath on there. In circular motions. I don't want to cause streaks. I want this as patchy as possible. We don't have to be in uniform. So I'm just using my breath, just as moisture. And then we'll go with a damp cloth and just press. What I won't do now is just add a darker wash around these latches. This is a black watercolour. Just adding little patches of black here and there, just to break up that grey. And then we're going to let this dry again. I think that's enough. So let that dry again. So I'm going to about 5 minutes, and then another damp cloth, and once again just dabbing, not pulling, just dab. I might need to create some scuff marks around here. This is there's a door here. This is the other side. You can keep going on and on and on till that's the nice thing about washes. So hopefully that's uniform. So we're not going to see a lot, but hopefully it's just enough to convince that it's mucky inside. Sides have been done. As I said, I don't pull, I circular motions and dab. I want a patchy effect. So I'm going to leave it here for now. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you for the next one.